neighbors think I'm selling dope.
Welcome to episode 4 of the Dope Garage Bro podcast. I'm your host, John Lester. In this episode, we're going to talk about how your environment shapes your identity. So whatever you're surrounded by, the people you hang out with, they all influence you. And I created this company because I was so inspired by the first garage I built. I always wanted to be in there constantly. I constantly wanted to be working out in there, jumping rope in there, just hanging out in my garage. It's such an inspiring space. It's so cool. It's very unique. No one really has a garage like that. So I created an environment I was inspired by. And I think everybody should have an environment in their house that they're inspired by. And I'm not telling you to go out and spend thousands of dollars to redo your whole house, but it should be clean, it should be organized, it should be decluttered. You know, you go in your closet, you haven't worn it in a year, get rid of it, you know? Downsize on everything you have, keep your space clean, make your bed in the morning. You know, the cleaner the spaces that you live in, the more together your mind is, and you can focus on other things. If everything's a mess all the time, you know that guy who's always looking for his keys or always looking for his wallet, he's a mess. You know, he doesn't have anything in order. So you want to clean up your life and make sure your place is organized, your car is clean. If you go in my car, anytime you go in my car, it's spotless, looks brand new. I mean, it is brand new, but I keep my car super clean. I've been like that for a few years. I talked about this in the last episode. I got that from the book Atomic Habits. Once a week, I take 15 minutes and clean my car. And if I go clean my car once a week for 15 minutes, it will never be dirty. And all I'm doing is 15 minutes a week. You know, the same with your room. You clean it up as soon as you wake up or before you go to bed for 5 minutes. You clean your room for 5 minutes, it's always clean. You clean your bathroom for 5 minutes, it's always clean. You clean your kitchen for 5 minutes, it's always clean. You know, so you want to stay on top of those things so you're in a clean space. And a clean space allows you to just focus on other things. If stuff's a mess, your mind's a mess, you know? I know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about. It makes sense. But again, back to the garages, you know, if you create a space that you're really inspired by, you love working in it, you know, whether you're working on your laptop, you're playing music, you know, you're working out, you're, you know, writing, anything. You want to be in a creative space. So that's where my business comes in. You know, I want to totally tailor my business to whatever your dream is, whatever you want to do. You know, or maybe you just love movies, okay? You love movies. You know, you have such a good time. You're at such a high vibration when you're watching movies. It's something that you love to do. You know, you can create an awesome movie theater in your garage. Awesome movie theater. You know, a vision I have for that, you got a big projector on the wall. You buy 2 couches. One couch is right here. And then you elevate the second couch. So it's like the theater ceiling. You know, you could have a really cool movie theater in your garage. You could have a popcorn machine. You know, maybe you go a little nuts and you have all these snacks available, Twix bars, Milk Duds. You know, you just have a whole candy section in your garage. How cool would that be? You know? Maybe you can game in there as well. You get your PS5, you game on the projector and on the couch with your friends. I mean, the sky's the limit with garages. They could literally be anything. Anything you're inspired by. Anything you want to do, you know? Any professional sports team you're really into, you know? Your garage can be themed off that. But I think it's really important for you to live in a clean space, declutter your space, you know, have a room you're inspired by. A while back, I watched this documentary on Netflix, and it completely changed my life. I watched it one time, and I was like, wow. It was about how this guy packed up all his stuff as if he was moving, but he wasn't moving. He would just pull whatever he needed out of the boxes to use it. And he found that he was only using like one frying pan. He was only using one plate and like one fork and one spoon. because he would wash his dishes as soon as he's done. So he realized that he could just declutter so much. And like even with his clothes, he put his clothes in boxes as if he was going to move. And he only pulled out the clothes he wanted to wear, and he found out that he only wore like 10 shirts and 3 pairs of shorts and like 2 pairs of pants. And this guy donated all of the stuff that he didn't use over a year. And I just thought it was genius, I used to have so much stuff. And to this day, I still have tons of sneakers. Sneakers is my thing. It's a hobby of mine. I probably got somewhere up to 100 pairs. But I just like sneakers. But as far as clothes go, I seriously downsized my clothes. Like I turned my walk-in closet into a meditation room because I literally don't have that many clothes. Like I probably dress nice once a month. So like I don't need that many outfits, and a lot of the shirts I wear are my business shirts. So I really don't have that many clothes. If you knew me when I was younger, I had so many clothes, it was ridiculous. I had every Ralph Lauren shirt a guy could have, every plaid, every color. And as I got older, I just realized I didn't need any of that stuff, and I got that from that documentary. You got all this stuff sitting in your house that you don't even use. And it comes back to the garage. You just clutter your garage with all the stuff that you're not even using. You might not use it for years and it's just sitting in your garage, taking up space when that garage could be something amazing, So stop collecting shit and putting it in your garage, Utilize that space. And I'm not even telling you to hire me. I don't care if you hire me. I'm going to be busy regardless. If you want to do your garage on your own, I highly recommend you do it. Check out my Instagram. There's tons of tips on there for you to be able to do it yourself, and I highly recommend you do. Instead of your garage collecting, shit, you could be inspired by it. You really can, And I think that if you utilize that space to your biggest imagination, whatever that may be, you're going to be so inspired on it, and you're going to have a better life. And I'm telling you, you can have a better life by having a dope garage. I really believe that. Like, I really believe that. You could be so inspired by the space. You can enjoy the space. You want to go out to a cool garage. It could be the best room in the house, and it's really not that expensive to renovate. One of my highest packages, if you went all out, you got the best of the best by me, it's like $12,000. Is that a lot of money? Yeah, it's a lot of money. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's not. But if you want to renovate the bathroom, you want to renovate the kitchen, you're looking at 30 grand. The garage, you can invest all the money in the space and it could be like a whole different world. It doesn't look anything like the house. It's completely different. It's just like you look at the outside of the house or you're in the inside of the house, you had no idea how dope the garage is. And, again, that's why I created this business. Get rid of all the stuff you have, all the shit you have that you don't use. Just get rid of it. You won't miss it. Once that garage is done, you won't miss any of that stuff. You really won't. I remember one time, and I'm a contractor, I had like 5 drills. What the hell do I need 5 drills for? I need 1, maybe 2, okay? So I got rid of a lot of that stuff. And, at the time I had like 6 different ladders, and I'm really not painting exteriors like that, so I really don't need that stuff. And I found myself with all these ladders, all these tools, just tons of stuff, and I wouldn't even use the tools. So I threw out a bunch of tools. It's crazy how much stuff I threw out. Honestly, I wish I sold it. But once my mind was made up to get rid of all my stuff, I literally called a dumpster company and I was like, hey man, I need a 30-foot dumpster. A 30-foot dumpster is huge. That's how much stuff I threw out. I was just so locked in on decluttering my space so I could declutter my mind. And it really works. When you only have a few shirts, you got less laundry, you only need so many towels, you only need so many shoes. I know I can't say that because I have tons of shoes, but they're just like my thing. It's really a hobby of mine. I also have multiple lacrosse sticks, multiple hockey sticks, but like that's just something I'm really into. I'm not against having an abundance of things that you really love. But do you really need 9 black t-shirts? You don't. Do you really need 12 cups in your house? Yeah, I mean, if you have a lot of company, but even if you have a lot of company, you're probably using the Dixies, you know what I'm saying? So you don't really need all those cups, all those plates, usually when you have a party, unless it's, a holiday, even if it is a holiday and grandma's pulling out the fine china. I know you don't have fine china, unless she passed, God bless her soul, and gave it back to you, or gave it to you. But yeah, you should really declutter your space, declutter your garage, make your garage dope. And like I said, you don't need to hire me to do that. I encourage you to do it by yourself. You want to call me? I got you. We'll take that garage to the next level. It'll be the best garage you've ever seen. And I stand by that. I will not leave a garage until my customers are like, John, I absolutely love it. I'm giving you a 5-star review on Google. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll stay there, I'll stay there as long as they want. We're going to get that garage perfect. If you hire a dope garage, that garage is going to be perfect. You're not going to want to change anything. And I just want my customers to have a positive vibration towards my brand. I want them to think it's so dope. I want them to think it's so unique. I consider myself an artist, not a painter. I look at your soul. What do you really want? What are you really inspired by? And let's just create a space based off what you want. And that's how I know my business is going to be successful. I know it's going to be successful. I have no doubt, no hesitation. I'm all in. I'm all in. I really think I could change people's lives through their garage. And that's why I created Dope Garage, bro. So thank you for listening to episode 4. This was kind of a shorty, but I just wanted to tell you a little bit about decluttering your space. Get rid of some stuff, live in a clean space. Take a couple minutes a day to clean your room. Take a couple minutes a day to clean your bathroom. Take a couple minutes a day to clean your kitchen. And if you do this all before you go to bed, you wake up to a super clean house. That's a great feeling. That's a great feeling. Everything's in its place. Everything's clean. Everything's neat. You don't have to rush around when you have company coming over. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. Thank you so much for everybody who watches my podcast. Thank you so much for everybody who likes my post. Thank you so much everybody who leaves a comment. I really appreciate you guys. I hope you enjoyed episode 4 of the Dope Garage Bro podcast. Have a great day.
I guess the neighbors think I'm selling dope. So